Make her crazy about you with these 6 simple questions. Stoic life lessons, Stoicism. Let's be real. Most men struggle to truly captivate a woman in conversation. They either overthink every word or sit there frozen, unsure of what to say. And guess what? Women can sense that hesitation instantly. It's a turn-off. You might have success, status, or even looks, but if you can't make her feel something, you'll always be forgettable. The secret? Attraction isn't about what you have. It's about how you lead the interaction with confidence, like a true Stoic. Today, I'll share 6 powerful questions designed to spark deep curiosity, emotional connection, and make her crave your presence. This isn't about chasing or seeking approval. It's about commanding attention effortlessly. So pay close attention, because once you start using these, she won't be able to stop thinking about you. Ready to master relationships the Stoic way? Subscribe, Win Stoic, and let's dive in. Number 1. What's the most attractive quality you look for in a man? Most men spend their time trying to impress women with surface-level achievements, flaunting their cars, their careers, their status. Yet they completely overlook the simplest, most powerful way to stand out, understanding what she actually values in a man. That's why this question, what's the most attractive quality you look for in a man, is pure gold. It shifts the focus from what you have to who you are, making her reflect on the kind of man she truly desires. And the best part? Most guys never ask this. They assume attraction is about showing off, but in reality, women don't just fall for possessions or appearances. They fall for how a man makes them feel. This question isn't just small talk. It's a way to subtly guide her thoughts, making her visualize the kind of man she wants in her life. The moment she verbalizes it, she starts searching for those qualities in you. If she says confidence, great. That means it's time to own your space, maintain steady eye contact, and embody quiet, unshakable self-assurance. If she values humor, perfect. Now's your chance to inject a well-timed joke, making her associate you with fun and emotional ease. If ambition matters to her, good. Casually drop in a line about your goals, showing her that you're a man with a direction, a mission, a sense of purpose. But here's where most men completely miss the mark. They either ask too soon, making it feel like an interrogation, or they ask it in a way that reeks of desperation, hoping they can mold themselves into whatever she wants. That's a mistake. A Stoic man doesn't shape himself to fit into someone else's standards. He observes, he listens, but most importantly, he remains firm in who he is. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. You don't become what she wants. You decide if she aligns with what you want. That's the difference between a man who commands respect and one who simply begs for it. This question, when used wisely, isn't about impressing her. It's about leading the conversation with quiet strength and unshakable presence. Delivered the right way, it makes her lean in, engage, and subconsciously start looking for those qualities in you. And this is where Stoicism plays a powerful role in modern dating. Understanding that external validation isn't what defines you, but rather how you hold yourself. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Seneca. You are already enough, provided you embrace your values, your purpose, and your presence with confidence. The key is not to seek her approval, but to guide the interaction with ease, curiosity, and strength, like a man who knows his worth. In today's fast-paced world, where dating apps and social media have made interactions feel transactional, what is Stoicism? It's the mindset of a man who remains unaffected by external circumstances, who doesn't get rattled by rejection, and who approaches life and relationships with a clear sense of self. When you ask this question at the right moment, when she's already engaged, when there's a flow, it changes the dynamic. It makes her think, it makes her connect, it makes her feel. And if you execute it right, she won't just be answering the question, she'll be picturing you as the man she's describing. Number 2, what makes intimate moments truly meaningful? Most men stick to the usual, predictable conversations, the kind that get forgotten the moment they walk away. They ask, "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" and expect that somehow, by listing off their accomplishments or interests, they'll magically spark attraction. But here's the truth: women don't fall for what you say, they fall for how you make them feel. That's why asking, "What do you enjoy most about those close, intimate moments with someone you trust?" is a game changer. This question isn't just about words, it's about triggering an emotional experience in real time. Because when a woman starts reflecting on feelings of deep connection and trust while talking to you, something powerful happens. She starts associating you with those feelings. It's simple psychology. People naturally connect emotions to those around them. If you can be the man who evokes meaningful emotions, you instantly separate yourself from every other guy stuck in surface-level chit-chat. And here's where it gets even more powerful: trust. Women don't give trust away freely. It's something they test, analyze, and observe over time. This isn't by accident, it's biological. Women are wired to be selective because they have to be. Weak men see this as a challenge, something to complain about, whining that women play too many games. Strong men who carry a stoic mindset see it as an opportunity. If she's testing, it means she's looking for a real man, one who doesn't just say the right things but embodies the kind of presence that makes her feel safe, valued, and understood. And that's exactly what this question helps you uncover. Because when she answers, she's giving you the blueprint. She's telling you, outright, what she craves emotionally in a connection. Maybe it's deep, vulnerable conversations at 2 a.m. Maybe it's spontaneous, playful teasing. Maybe it's quiet moments of understanding without the need for words. Whatever it is, she's telling you how to connect with her on a level most men never reach. But timing is everything. Drop this question too early and you come off as intrusive, like you're trying too hard. But wait until there's a natural flow, until she's already engaged, already invested, and suddenly she's opening up in a way she wasn't expecting. That's because this question doesn't just get her talking, it gets her feeling. And in that moment, attraction isn't being forced, it's unfolding on its own. This is where Stoicism sets you apart. A Stoic man doesn't force moments, he creates the conditions where they happen naturally. He doesn't chase emotions, he guides them. He doesn't beg for connection, he stands firm in his presence, letting attraction grow on his terms. This is why the most magnetic men aren't the ones desperately seeking attention, but the ones who hold their ground with quiet confidence, allowing the conversation and the chemistry to develop without needing to rush it. As Seneca once said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This is your opportunity to build something real, something deeper than the average, forgettable exchange. In life, how often do people rush into relationships, craving connection but skipping over the foundation of trust and understanding? How many men feel like they're walking on eggshells, trying to say the right thing, while failing to truly listen? The Stoic happiness approach is different. It's about being present, being intentional, and mastering the art of observation. So when you ask this question, don't rush. Hold the silence if needed. Let her lean into it. Let her invest in the conversation. And as she speaks, pay attention. Does she light up when she talks about emotional depth? Does she get excited when she describes playful moments? These are not just words, these are clues. She's revealing what she finds irresistible. She's telling you exactly what she wants. And the man who listens, the man who understands this, is the man who naturally draws women in. This is what Stoicism today teaches us: not to react impulsively, not to seek validation, but to stand firm in who we are, creating attraction effortlessly. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation with a woman you genuinely want to connect with, resist the urge to fill the space with empty words. Instead, lead the conversation into something real. Use this question as a gateway to deeper understanding, not as a trick, but as a way to see if the two of you truly connect. The best relationships, the most passionate romances, the most meaningful connections aren't built on grand gestures or flashy words. They're built on emotional alignment, trust, and presence. And if you can master that, you won't just be another guy she talks to, you'll be the man she remembers. Number 3, what do you value most in a relationship? Most men stumble in conversations because they never go beyond the surface. They get trapped in safe, predictable small talk. They ask, "What do you do for a living?" Or "What's your favorite movie?" thinking it's enough to build a connection. But these questions lead nowhere, keeping you in the friend zone, blending you in with every other guy who can't think past his next pickup line. But when you ask a woman, "What do you value most in a relationship?" you're flipping the script. You're sending a message: I'm not here for small talk. I'm here for something real. And trust me, that kind of energy is magnetic. It sets you apart from the masses of men who fumble their way through conversations, hoping something will stick. Women notice depth. They feel when a man is asking something with real intention. They recognize a high-value man when they meet one. And that's what you're positioning yourself as: someone who understands that relationships aren't just about chemistry, but about alignment. This question does something incredibly powerful. It invites her into an emotionally engaging conversation. It's not a random topic, it's an insight into her deepest expectations in a relationship. When she answers, she's revealing what she truly values, and this tells you more about her than hours of mindless banter ever could. If she values loyalty, trust, or deep emotional connection, it shows she's looking for something stable and meaningful. If she talks about ambition, excitement, or adventure, you'll know she seeks intensity and personal growth. Every answer is a window into her mindset, her past experiences, and most importantly, what she's unconsciously searching for in a man. This isn't just about impressing her, it's about figuring out if she fits into your life too. And that's where Stoic wisdom comes into play. But here's the harsh truth: not all values align. Some women prioritize security over passion, while others crave adventure over stability. Some want attention more than a genuine emotional connection. And this is where most men go wrong. They ignore red flags because they're too caught up in attraction. They bend themselves into a version of what they think she wants instead of asking the most important question: is this what I want too? This question isn't just for her, it's for you. It's a filter, a tool that not only helps you understand what she desires, but forces you to decide if she aligns with what you need in a relationship. Too many men overlook this step, rushing into something that ultimately drains them because they never took the time to discern whether they were actually compatible. And this is where Stoicism gives you the ultimate edge. A Stoic man doesn't rush into emotions blindly. He observes, listens, and makes decisions based on wisdom, not impulse. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, Seneca reminds us. If you're not aligned in your core values, no amount of attraction will save the relationship from collapsing later. This is why you must listen closely when she answers. Don't just hear her words read between the lines. Is she speaking from past wounds, revealing emotional baggage? Is she clear on what she wants, or is she just saying what sounds good? You're not here to sell yourself to her. You're here to determine if she fits into your world as much as you fit into hers. This is the difference between a high-value man who chooses and a desperate man who chases. Timing, as always, is crucial. You don't drop this question 5 minutes into meeting her, you wait for the right moment. When the energy is right, when the conversation has already built momentum, when there's a sense of emotional safety, that's when you ask it. And when you do, watch her reaction carefully. Is she eager to share? Does she hesitate? Does she light up when speaking about love? Or does she sound disillusioned? Her response is a roadmap. It tells you everything you need to know about whether she's someone you can build something meaningful with. Win Stoic isn't just about impressing women, it's about choosing wisely, about ensuring that your relationships bring you strength rather than drain you. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most men, someone who values deep connection and growth. Drop a comment saying, "I am a high-value man," to show you're committed to mastering attraction with a Stoic mindset. And remember, this is just the beginning. Stick around. The best is yet to come. Number 4. What's the most irresistible trait in a man? Most men spend their time trying to impress women with things they think are attractive: cars, status, physique, without ever stopping to ask what truly draws a woman in. But if you really want to stand out, if you want to make an impression that lingers, you ask the kind of question that most men never dare to. What's the most attractive thing in a man? Something that drives you crazy. This isn't a basic, forgettable inquiry like, "What's your favorite color?" or "What kind of music do you like?" No. This question taps into something deeper. It invites her to open up about what excites her, what she truly desires in a man. And the moment she starts describing it, she's no longer just thinking about it, she's feeling it. And in that moment, if you play your cards right, she's not just imagining any man, she's imagining you. Because the key here isn't just hearing her words, but understanding the emotional response behind them. Maybe she talks about a man who makes her laugh until her stomach hurts. Great, now you know humor is her weak spot. Maybe she craves raw confidence, a man who owns his presence without arrogance. Maybe she's drawn to intelligence, ambition, or a quiet strength that makes her feel safe. Whatever she reveals, it's a window into her desires, and if you recognize those qualities in yourself, it's time to lean into them. But before you go asking this question, timing is everything. Drop it too soon and it could come off as forced or even off-putting. If trust and comfort aren't already there, she might feel caught off guard, and that will kill the entire interaction. That's why you wait. You ask when the moment is right, when the conversation has depth, when there's already a playful energy between you, when she's relaxed enough to let her guard down and be vulnerable. This isn't just about creating attraction, it's about testing the waters. Because a high-value man doesn't just seek approval, he observes, he listens, he assesses, and most importantly, he decides whether she fits into his world. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." In relationships, the same applies. Your worth is not dictated by a woman's preferences, but by your ability to stay true to your own. This is where most men fail. They hear her answer, and if they don't fit the mold of what she describes, they scramble to adjust, to become what they think she wants. That's not the mindset of a Stoic man. A Stoic doesn't chase validation. He commands respect, not through words, but through presence. If she says she's attracted to confidence, you don't respond with, "Oh, I'm confident." You demonstrate it in how you speak, how you hold eye contact, how you carry yourself without the need for approval. If she says she values humor, you don't just tell her you're funny, you show her with effortless wit. And if she says she's into something that doesn't align with who you are, like a reckless lifestyle or an obsession with power, that's when you know to walk away with your head held high, no forcing, no compromising your core values. Because what's the point of winning her over if, in the process, you lose yourself? Seneca put it best. If you don't know what port you're sailing to, no wind is favorable. In dating, as in life, clarity is power. And that's why this question is a litmus test. It's not about tricking her into telling you what to become. It's about seeing where you naturally align. This is where most men get it wrong. They get attached to an outcome, hoping to hear something that strokes their ego. But a man of purpose doesn't need that. A Stoic man doesn't waste time chasing someone whose desires don't align with his own. He asks the question, he listens, and he makes his decision. So here's the real challenge. Are you willing to stay true to yourself, even in the face of rejection? Are you the kind of man who listens, who observes, who stands his ground without bending to fit someone else's expectations? That's what separates high-value men from those who are constantly seeking approval. That's what makes a man truly irresistible. If you're serious about leveling up in your conversations and mastering the art of attraction through Stoic life lessons, then drop a comment below and say, "I have the mindset of a high-value man." Because the moment you start thinking this way, the moment you stop trying to please everyone and start seeking true alignment, is the moment you stop chasing attraction and start attracting effortlessly. And that, my friend, is the ultimate power. Number 5. What's something men do that absolutely annoys you? Most men avoid asking tough questions because they fear an uncomfortable answer. But if you want to truly engage a woman and set yourself apart, you need to be willing to go there. And that's why the question, "What's something men do that absolutely annoys you?" is so powerful. At first glance, it might seem like a dangerous path, a potential minefield of complaints, frustrations, and generalizations. But when handled correctly, this question doesn't just break the ice, it melts it. It invites her to open up in a way most men never give her the chance to. But here's the key. You can't take it personally. If you come in with a defensive attitude, or worse, try to debate her, you're going to kill the conversation before it even gets started. Instead, you need to approach it with humor, curiosity, and a level of emotional control that few men possess. This is where Stoicism today gives you an edge. A Stoic man understands that external opinions, even criticisms, are not something to be feared. He remains unshaken, observing rather than reacting, responding with wisdom rather than emotion. And this is where it gets interesting. When she tells you something like, "I can't stand guys who are too cocky," you don't roll your eyes or argue. Instead, you smirk and say, "Well, Good thing I left my crown at home today. Humor, confidence, a little playful self-awareness. This is how you win the interaction. Women don't want a man who crumbles at the first sign of criticism. They want a man who can handle himself with grace, a man who doesn't seek approval, but also isn't afraid to engage in light-hearted banter. When was the last time you saw a truly confident man get defensive? He doesn't. He listens, takes in information, and responds with clarity. That's what makes him attractive. When she mentions something that annoys her about men, don't argue, laugh, tease, and turn the moment into something fun. If she says she hates guys who act too needy, you nod with a knowing smile and say, "Wow, so you're saying my daily good morning beautiful texts might be a little much?" This isn't about impressing her. It's about demonstrating a stoic mindset, showing her that you're comfortable enough in your own skin to joke about yourself, while subtly reinforcing your own confidence. But let's take it a step further. This question isn't just about making her laugh. It's also a test for you. Because let's be real, not every answer she gives will be something you agree with. Maybe she says she finds quiet, reserved men boring and prefers the loud life of the party type. Maybe she dislikes men who focus too much on their work and wishes they had more time for fun. And let's not forget, this question is a gateway to deeper conversation. The way she responds, the way she laughs, the way she leans in as she talks. All of this gives you valuable insight into who she is and what she's looking for. If she gets passionate about a certain topic, that tells you it's something that really matters to her. If she brushes off the question or gives a generic answer, maybe she isn't as emotionally open as you'd like. These moments are where attraction is built or lost. But the key takeaway here is this: your reaction matters more than her answer. Most guys get defensive, flustered, or worse, they overcompensate and try to prove they're different. But the Stoic man remains composed, amused, and in control. He listens, he processes, and he responds with effortless confidence. Most men she meets are either too afraid to ask interesting questions or too reactive to handle an honest answer. But you're not most men. You're showing her that you can handle the truth without letting it shake you. That's rare. That's attractive. And that's why this question works so well. It's not about avoiding discomfort. It's about embracing it. It's about standing firm in the face of critique and proving that you're the kind of man who isn't easily rattled. Number 6. Coffee or beer? At first glance, asking coffee or beer might seem like small talk, simple, casual, even cliché. But when used correctly, it's more than just a question. It's a tool, a way to gauge a woman's personality, her preferences, and more importantly, an opportunity to shift the conversation from the ordinary to something engaging, playful, and subtly flirtatious. Think of it like choosing a weapon. It's an easy question on the surface, but dig deeper and it reveals more about how she sees the world, how she enjoys her time, and the kind of energy she brings into a relationship. But here's the thing, timing is everything. You don't just drop this question randomly and expect magic. You build up to it. Instead of asking flatly, you set the scene. All right, I've got a tough question for you. Now, suddenly, she's interested. Now, she's curious. The moment you frame something as a challenge or a playful decision, she's already more engaged. And engagement is what separates an average interaction from one that sticks in her mind long after you've walked away. But let's talk about why this question actually works. It's not about her answer, it's about what the answer represents. Coffee? That signals long, meaningful conversations at a cozy cafe, early morning routines. and a woman who enjoys depth, structure, and intellectual connection. Beer, that leans toward a more relaxed, spontaneous vibe, someone who enjoys a carefree, easygoing atmosphere where chemistry builds effortlessly over laughter and shared moments. The secret? Use her answer to lead the conversation where you want it to go. If she picks coffee, you effortlessly transition with, "What's your go-to coffee spot? Maybe we should check it out sometime." If she leans toward beer, you smoothly suggest, "I know a great place with some of the best IPAs. How about we grab one sometime?" And just like that, you're no longer making small talk. You're creating an opportunity. You're not asking for a date, you're guiding her into one, naturally, effortlessly. High-value men don't beg for time, they create moments worth experiencing. And this is exactly where Stoic life lessons come into play. A Stoic man doesn't sit around hoping things work out. He steers interactions with intention. He understands that attraction isn't about forcing an outcome but leading a moment. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." And in conversations like these, that's exactly what you're doing, creating an opportunity by preparing the right moment to strike. You don't react, you control the flow. If she hesitates with her answer, don't rush in to fill the silence. Hold it. Make her feel the moment. Women respect a man who isn't afraid of a pause, who lets the energy between you build without the need for validation. This is where most men fail. They overthink, they get stuck in their heads, and they try too hard. But Stoicism today teaches us that the best way to command a moment is to be fully present in it. Use this question effectively. First, build suspense. Don't just throw it out. Set it up in a way that makes it intriguing. Second, use her answer to guide the conversation deeper. If she says she's a coffee person, talk about the best cafes, the kind of morning rituals she enjoys, what kind of books or projects she works on with her coffee. If she picks beer, dive into stories of great bar moments, travel experiences, the best local breweries. Third, don't overthink it. Just ask and flow with the moment. And finally, remember the bigger picture. This isn't about a drink. It's about creating a connection in a way most men fail to do. And that's why this simple question sets you apart. The average guy wastes time with surface-level chit-chat, never steering the conversation towards something meaningful, playful, or engaging. But you're different. You understand that small talk is just a gateway. It's how you lead the conversation that matters. Win Stoic isn't about impressing women. It's about moving with confidence, owning every interaction, and making sure the moments you create are intentional. So the next time you find yourself in conversation, don't fall into the trap of dull, predictable questions. Use this one. Play with it. Make it engaging. Because when used right, this simple choice between coffee and beer can be the spark that makes her remember you long after the conversation is over. And there you have it, 6 simple yet powerful questions that can change the way you connect and build attraction. But knowing them isn't enough. The real growth comes from applying them. Are you ready to step up and actually use these in your conversations? Drop a comment below and tell me which question you're going to try first. Remember, becoming a high-value man isn't about tricks or gimmicks. It's about confidence, presence, and understanding the deeper dynamics of attraction. Stoicism teaches us that growth comes from action, not just knowledge. So start today. Practice these principles, refine your mindset, and watch how your interactions transform. If you found this valuable, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video that helps you level up. This is Win Story, where men sharpen their minds, master attraction, and build a life of purpose. See you in the next one. 7 types of attractive men who always melt hearts. Ever wonder why some men seem to effortlessly capture attention and leave a lasting impression? Is it just about looks? Or is there something deeper at play? The truth is, attraction goes far beyond physical appearance. It's about presence, confidence, and that unspoken aura that makes someone irresistible. In today's video, we're diving into the 7 types of men who naturally melt hearts. The ones who turn heads, not just with their style, but with the way they carry themselves. Whether it's the mysterious intellectual, the bold risk-taker, or the effortlessly charming guy, there's a science to what makes these men so magnetic. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what sets them apart and how you can embody these traits yourself. Stay tuned, because you won't want to miss this. 1. Ambitious and driven. A man who is ambitious and driven is not just someone who works hard. He is someone who embodies the relentless pursuit of growth, self-improvement, and resilience. This kind of man understands that success is not just about wealth, but about the ability to navigate life's challenges with unwavering commitment. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude this level of purpose and determination because it represents security, not just financial, but emotional and intellectual security as well. A man with vision doesn't need to have millions in his bank account today, but his ability to set goals and take consistent action towards them reassures the people around him, especially the women in his life. The Stoics believed in the power of perseverance and resilience, with Epictetus famously saying, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" This quote perfectly encapsulates the essence of an ambitious man, one who doesn't sit idly waiting for things to happen, but instead shapes his destiny with his own hands. In contrast, a man who lacks ambition and is satisfied with mediocrity sends a clear message. He is unwilling to push beyond his current limitations. No woman wants to tether her life to someone who is stagnant, someone who refuses to evolve, because deep down, attraction is tied to the promise of a better future. This doesn't mean one must be ruthless in the pursuit of success at the cost of character. Rather, it means that a man must find purpose and constantly strive to refine himself. There's an undeniable magnetism in a man who refuses to be defeated by life's setbacks and instead treats them as stepping stones to something greater. A man who lives by Stoic life lessons embraces the idea that external circumstances don't define his worth, but his response to them does. In today's world, ambition has taken on a different form. It's no longer just about climbing the corporate ladder or amassing wealth. It's about self-mastery, the ability to stay focused in a world filled with distractions, and the resilience to keep going even when things seem uncertain. Many men in their 40s, 50s, or even 60s feel like their peak years are behind them. But the truth is, the most attractive men are those who continue evolving, regardless of age. Think of successful individuals like Jeff Bezos or Colonel Sanders. Both faced setbacks, but never stopped striving. The modern world admires men who refuse to surrender to circumstances. Women too recognize this drive, as it speaks to a man's ability to provide, not just materially, but emotionally and intellectually. A driven man carries a quiet confidence, the kind that says, "I may not be where I want to be yet, but I am on my way." that mindset is intoxicating. But ambition without discipline is nothing but wishful thinking. A man who speaks of grand plans but fails to act on them is quickly exposed. The Stoics believed in action over words, and Seneca wisely noted, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This means that ambition alone is insufficient. One must pair it with relentless effort and preparation. Women can sense the difference between a man who simply talks about his dreams and a man who wakes up every day with the intent to make them a reality. There is an inherent attractiveness in a man who does what he says he will do, who keeps his promises, not just to others, but to himself. In relationships, a driven man creates an environment where his partner feels secure. She knows he will face challenges head-on, that he will not crumble under pressure, and that he has the foresight to plan for the future. This does not mean that a man must be obsessed with work to the point of neglecting his personal life. Balance is key. The most attractive form of ambition is one that is fueled by passion rather than desperation, a drive that is not rooted in external validation, but in the simple pursuit of becoming the best version of oneself. A man who understands what is Stoicism knows that true success is not about external rewards, but about internal mastery. The ability to remain calm in adversity, to maintain integrity in the face of temptation, and to persist when others give up. These are the qualities that define an exceptional man. Now, in the age of instant gratification, where many seek quick rewards and shortcuts, the truly ambitious man stands out because he values the long game. He does not seek applause for every small achievement, nor does he complain about the obstacles in his way. He embraces the grind because he understands that everything worthwhile requires effort. This is the type of man who remains attractive, not just in his youth, but well into his later years. Women respect and admire a man who continues to build himself, because such a man understands that life's greatest rewards are reserved for those who are willing to endure, to strive, and to grow. If you are a man in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, wondering whether it is too late to embody this level of ambition and drive, the answer is a resounding no. The past does not define you. What you do with the present moment does. Take control of your story, refine your mindset, and pursue excellence not because society expects it, but because you owe it to yourself. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control everything in life, but we can control our actions, our mindset, and our commitment to improvement. That is the essence of a truly attractive man, one who does not merely exist, but thrives. 2. Gentle and considerate. A man who is gentle and considerate possesses a strength that is often misunderstood in today's world. Many believe that attraction is built solely on dominance, power, or sheer confidence, but the truth is, real strength lies in control. Control over one's emotions, words, and actions. A man who knows how to be patient and understanding creates an environment of peace and security, something that no amount of physical power can replicate. No matter how independent or strong a woman is, there are moments when she longs for a presence that reassures her, a man who listens, who truly sees her, and who can offer comfort without judgment. Being gentle doesn't mean being weak. It means knowing when to push forward and when to yield, when to speak and when to simply be there. In modern relationships where life moves fast, stress runs high, and people often feel unheard, the ability to be patient and considerate stands out. A man who can regulate his emotions, who does not lash out in frustration or impatience, who understands that kindness is not a weakness but a sign of inner confidence, instantly becomes someone that women feel safe with. In a world where many rush to react without thinking, a man who remains calm, listens deeply, and responds with wisdom is rare. He doesn't just hear words, he understands feelings. Women naturally gravitate towards this kind of emotional intelligence because it reassures them that their emotions are not a burden, that their thoughts are valued, and that they can truly be themselves around him. This lesson applies far beyond romantic relationships. In life, people gravitate towards those who make them feel at ease, who exude patience and understanding, who treat every interaction as an opportunity to build rather than break. A man with a stoic happiness approach understands that external chaos is inevitable, but inner peace is a choice. He does not raise his voice to win an argument. He does not let his pride make decisions for him. Instead, he chooses kindness as his strength, knowing that true power lies in the ability to bring calm to a storm, to hold space for others, and to navigate relationships with grace. A man like this doesn't just attract others, he inspires them. In moments of tension, do you react or do you respond? When someone is upset, do you listen or do you immediately try to solve the problem? Women, and people in general, don't always need solutions. They need to feel heard. The most magnetic men understand this instinctively. They don't rush to impose their opinions, nor do they dismiss emotions as irrational. Instead, they validate, support, and uplift. This is why men who are gentle and considerate remain attractive at every stage of life. While physical strength may fade, the ability to offer emotional security and deep understanding only grows stronger with time. So what does this mean for you? It means practicing patience in everyday interactions. It means being fully present in conversations rather than waiting for your turn to speak. It means choosing kindness even when it is easier to be indifferent. It means leading with understanding rather than control. Seneca once said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." A man who lives by this principle is not just attractive, he is unforgettable. Women fall for men who make them feel seen, who offer strength not through force but through presence. And the best part, this is a trait that anyone can cultivate. It is not about wealth, status, or appearance. It is about mindset. If you truly want to be the kind of man who melts hearts, focus on mastering the art of being gentle and considerate. Practice the discipline of listening. Approach situations with patience rather than impulse. Strengthen your emotional control so that you can be a source of calm, not chaos. In doing so, you will not only become more attractive in the eyes of women, but you will also build deeper, more meaningful connections in all areas of your life. Stoicism today is not just about enduring hardship. It is about thriving in relationships, about leading with wisdom, and about leading people better than you found them. And that, more than anything, is the mark of a truly remarkable man. 3. Masculine appearance. A masculine appearance isn't just about genetics, it's about how you present yourself, the energy you exude, and the confidence you carry. While looks aren't everything, they undeniably play a role in attraction. Women are naturally drawn to men with strong, defined features, a chiseled jawline, broad shoulders, a deep voice, and a well-built physique, not just because they're aesthetically pleasing, but because these traits have long been associated with strength, protection, and reliability. Throughout history, these physical attributes have signaled a man's ability to provide, lead, and endure challenges, making them biologically appealing on a subconscious level. But let's be clear, having a masculine presence is not just about being born with symmetrical features or hitting the genetic lottery. It's about how you take care of yourself, how you carry yourself, and the discipline you apply to maintain your body and posture. A high-value man understands that his body is a reflection of his self-respect and discipline. He doesn't just focus on physical strength for the sake of vanity, he cultivates his body as a tool for endurance, resilience, and overall vitality. Have you ever noticed how a man who stands tall with good posture, moves with purpose, and maintains a composed expression immediately commands respect? It's because physical presence influences perception. A strong, fit body signals self-discipline, commitment, and control, traits that extend far beyond appearance and into character. Women and society at large respond to this because it reflects an internal strength that is more than just skin deep. You don't need to be the biggest guy in the room, but you should aim to be the most composed, the most intentional, and the one who moves with confidence and purpose. A Stoic mindset teaches us that true masculinity is about mastering oneself, your body, your emotions, and your reactions to the world. Take, for example, a man who was once out of shape and insecure about his body. He lacked confidence, and his presence in a room went unnoticed. But instead of blaming genetics or his circumstances, he took control of what he could. He started training, not just to look better, but to feel stronger and more capable. Over time, his physique changed, but more importantly, his mindset did. He carried himself differently, he spoke with more confidence, and he exuded a quiet strength that made people take notice. This is the essence of what it means to cultivate a masculine appearance. It's not about perfection, it's about self-respect. When you put effort into yourself, others recognize it. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Physical fitness is not just about attraction, it's about functionality. A high-value man trains his body not only to look good, but to be capable to protect, to endure, to thrive. It's no coincidence that throughout history, warriors, leaders, and men of influence all understood the importance of physical discipline. Even today, the most respected men, whether in business, politics, or personal relationships, have an air of strength about them. And it often starts with how they take care of their bodies. But it's not just about the gym. It's about how you dress, how you groom yourself, and how you present yourself to the world. A well-groomed man with a strong posture and a confident, grounded presence is far more attractive than someone with great genetics, but no self-discipline. Every man has the ability to sharpen his masculine appeal, to build a presence that commands respect and draws admiration. The key is consistency and self-awareness. If you've been neglecting your body, your posture, or your style, it's never too late to start refining them. If you want to embody a Stoic mentality, recognize that your appearance is a reflection of your discipline, your self-respect, and your commitment to being a man of value. At the end of the day, masculinity isn't about genetics, it's about effort. Women and the world don't just admire a well-built body, they admire the self-discipline it represents. They respect the quiet strength of a man who carries himself with purpose. A masculine appearance is not just about looking strong, it's about being strong, inside and out. 4. Korean Idol aesthetic. The definition of attractiveness has evolved significantly over time, and today, a growing number of young women are captivated by men with a more delicate, refined aesthetic, what some might call the Korean Idol look. Unlike the traditional rugged, masculine appeal characterized by a chiseled jawline and a tough exterior, this look embodies youthful charm, flawless skin, and a well-groomed appearance that exudes elegance rather than sheer dominance. This shift in preference is largely influenced by the global rise of K-pop culture, where South Korean idols have redefined masculinity by blending confidence with a polished, almost ethereal presence. But what is it about this aesthetic that makes it so attractive? It goes beyond just having good skin or a pretty face. It's the attention to self-care, the confidence to embrace a softer, more refined masculinity, and the ability to present oneself in a way that is both stylish and appealing. The legendary Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This principle applies perfectly to the modern man, as attractiveness is not just about adhering to societal trends, but about understanding and refining one's own unique presence. In today's world, personal grooming and self-care are no longer exclusive to women, nor should they be. In men who take care of their skin, style their hair with precision, and dress with an awareness of their features, are often perceived as more attractive not just because of their looks, but because they signal effort, self-respect, and a commitment to presentation. There is an undeniable confidence that comes with knowing you look good, and confidence, as we know, is one of the most magnetic qualities a man can have. This doesn't mean one has to follow every trend blindly, but rather that an awareness of modern aesthetics, combined with a personal sense of style, can elevate a man's presence significantly. The rise of the Korean idol aesthetic is a testament to this fact. Women are not just drawn to the look itself, but to the meticulous attention to grooming and fashion that comes with it. This ties into a broader Stoic life lesson. The way you present yourself to the world is, in many ways, a reflection of your mindset. A man who values discipline and self-improvement naturally extends those qualities to his appearance. High-value men understand that attractiveness is not about appearing youthful, but about maintaining vitality, health, and a well-groomed presence. Skin care, for instance, is not about vanity, it's about taking care of oneself. Dressing well is not about chasing trends, it's about choosing clothing that complements your features, fits well, and signals intentionality. There is a reason why some older men remain incredibly attractive. They evolve their style, maintain their health, and carry themselves with an effortless confidence that younger men often lack. Seneca once said, "A man's as miserable as he thinks he is." This highlights a fundamental truth. If you believe aging diminishes your appeal, it will. But if you cultivate a sense of refinement, confidence, and self-care, your presence will remain captivating at any age. The Stoics believed that external appearances do not define a man, but how he chooses to carry himself does. A man who neglects his appearance and dismisses the idea of grooming under the guise of real men don't care about looks is, in truth, ignoring the reality that presentation affects perception. Ultimately, the lesson here is not about striving to mimic a Korean idol, but about taking inspiration from the discipline behind their aesthetics. Confidence comes from preparation, and preparation includes how you present yourself. Whether you prefer a rugged look, a classic gentleman style, or a refined, well-groomed presence, the key is intentionality. A man who puts effort into himself, who is meticulous about his grooming, and who understands the power of presentation will always stand out. 5. Intelligence. Intelligence is one of the most powerful forms of attraction, not just because of the knowledge itself, but because of the depth, curiosity, and perspective that come with it. A man who is well-read, articulate, and capable of engaging in meaningful conversations offers something far more valuable than just surface-level attraction. He makes interactions engaging, exciting, and thought-provoking, creating an experience that draws people in. especially women who appreciate depth and intellectual stimulation. But intelligence isn't just about rattling off facts or being an expert in one field. It's about the ability to connect ideas, see patterns in life, and bring insight into any discussion. It's about being able to challenge perspectives, offer wisdom, and navigate the world with awareness and clarity. However, the key difference between an attractive, intelligent man and someone who simply knows a lot is humility. A truly wise man never feels the need to prove himself because he understands that intelligence is about growth, not status. In today's world where distractions are endless and attention spans are shrinking, a man who can hold a meaningful conversation is rare and refreshing. He is someone who listens actively, asks thoughtful questions, and offers insights that make others reflect, rather than simply waiting for his turn to speak. He does not need to boast about his intelligence, because it naturally reveals itself in the way he carries a conversation, the way he articulates his thoughts, and most importantly, the way he makes others feel heard. Women and people in general are drawn to those who make them think, who challenge them in a way that feels exciting rather than competitive. Intelligence in attraction isn't just about being well-informed, it's about emotional intelligence, about understanding how to communicate in a way that is engaging and enriching. A man with a Stoic happiness approach understands that conversations are not competitions, but opportunities to exchange perspectives and grow. In a world where knowledge is at our fingertips, intelligence is no longer just about acquiring information. It is about the ability to filter, analyze, and apply it wisely. A man with a Stoicism today mindset understands that true intelligence is knowing what matters, what to ignore, and when to speak. He is aware that intelligence is not about appearing superior, but about bringing clarity, wisdom, and understanding into any situation. Women are drawn to men who can make them see the world in a new way, who introduce them to new ideas without being condescending, and who make learning feel like an adventure rather than a lecture. Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This reinforces the idea that intelligence is an ongoing journey, not a fixed state, and those who continue to seek knowledge and personal growth will always stand out. But how can you cultivate this kind of intelligence? Start by becoming a lifelong learner, not for the sake of impressing others, but because expanding your mind adds depth to your life. Read books, listen to podcasts, engage in deep conversations, and most importantly, learn to listen as much as you speak. Practice humility in discussions, understanding that even the most knowledgeable person can learn something new from anyone. Develop the habit of asking thought-provoking questions rather than just sharing what you know. Intelligence is not about having all the answers. It's about having the curiosity to explore, the patience to understand, and the wisdom to know that there is always more to learn. The difference between an attractive, intelligent man and one who is simply book-smart is how he makes others feel in his presence. Intelligence should not create distance, it should create connection. A truly intelligent man knows that the goal is not to be the smartest in the room, but to be the one who inspires curiosity, growth, and meaningful discussion. In the end, intelligence, when paired with humility, emotional awareness, and a genuine love for learning, is one of the most powerful traits a man can possess. Women, and people in general, are drawn to those who make life feel richer, more interesting, and more insightful. And that, more than anything, is the kind of intelligence that melts hearts. 6. Sense of humor. A sense of humor is one of the most powerful tools a man can possess, not just in romance but in every area of life. It has the ability to disarm tension, turn strangers into friends, and make even the most difficult situations feel lighter. Women in particular are drawn to men who can make them laugh, not just because humor is entertaining, but because it signals intelligence, confidence, and emotional agility. A man who knows how to inject humor into a conversation creates an atmosphere of ease, making people feel comfortable and engaged. Laughter isn't just about telling jokes. It's about timing, self-awareness, and the ability to see the world with a perspective that turns challenges into opportunities for levity. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the essence of humor. It's not about denying life's difficulties, but about choosing to face them with a light heart, showing resilience rather than despair. A great sense of humor is not about memorizing punchlines or trying too hard to be the funniest person in the room. In fact, forced humor often falls flat and can come off as try-hard or insincere. Instead, humor that is attractive stems from authenticity. It is the ability to laugh at oneself, to not take life too seriously, and to find amusement in everyday moments. The best comedians are not those who simply tell jokes, but those who observe life keenly and offer insights in a way that makes others see the world from a different, more amusing perspective. Think about the kind of man who can turn a frustrating situation into a humorous anecdote. He instantly becomes someone others want to be around. Women are especially drawn to men who can lighten the mood, not because they expect a stand-up performance, but because humor signals that a man is emotionally resilient, socially aware, and fun to be with. In relationships, this quality is invaluable. A man who can make a woman laugh can turn a simple dinner into a memorable experience, turn an argument into a moment of connection, and make even ordinary days feel extraordinary. This is why humor is not just an attractive trait, it is a relationship-strengthening tool that fosters connection, warmth, and intimacy. But what if you don't consider yourself naturally funny? The good news is that humor, like any skill, can be developed. It starts with developing a keen sense of observation, paying attention to the small, absurd details of life, learning to laugh at your own mistakes, and embracing spontaneity. It also involves learning to read the room, understanding when humor is appropriate and when it's best to simply listen. A high-value man does not use humor to seek validation or as a defense mechanism to mask insecurity. He uses it to enhance the moment, to uplift others, and to foster deeper connections. Stoicism today teaches that humor is not about avoiding reality, but about facing it with a mindset that allows one to stay composed, even in the face of adversity. Think about some of the most charismatic and well-loved men in history, whether it's a legendary actor, a politician, or a businessman. Most of them possess a remarkable sense of humor. It's what makes them relatable, likable, and magnetic. Even in the corporate world, leaders who have a good sense of humor are often more respected and trusted because they make difficult conversations easier, reduce workplace stress, and build stronger connections with their teams. A man with a Stoic life lessons mindset understands that humor is a tool, not a gimmick. It is about mastering one's emotions, choosing to focus on joy rather than negativity, and lifting the spirits of those around him. Whether in romance, business, or friendships, the ability to make people smile and laugh is a rare and valuable gift that should never be underestimated. Start by embracing life's unpredictability and stop fearing embarrassment. The most attractive humor often comes from a man's ability to laugh at himself rather than take himself too seriously. Read books by great humorists, watch stand-up comedy, and expose yourself to different styles of wit to find what resonates with you. More importantly, practice using humor in everyday conversations. Whether it's teasing in a light-hearted way, using clever wordplay, or finding humor in frustrating situations. At the end of the day, a man with a great sense of humor is not just someone who makes people laugh. He is someone who makes life itself feel richer, easier, and more enjoyable. Women remember the man who made them laugh during a stressful moment, who turned an ordinary date into an adventure, and who brought a smile to their face even when things weren't going perfectly. 7. Generous. Generosity is one of the most powerful yet often misunderstood traits a man can possess. It is not just about wealth or the ability to provide material things. It is about the willingness to give, to share, and to uplift those around you. True generosity is a reflection of character, and it speaks volumes about a man's values, his mindset, and his approach to relationships. Women and people in general are naturally drawn to those who exude abundance, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. A generous man does not measure his worth by how much he has, but by how much he can give, whether it is through time, kindness, attention, or simply making others feel valued. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." This wisdom reminds us that generosity is not about excess wealth. It is about a mindset of abundance, about believing that what we give enriches us rather than diminishes. Being generous does not mean being reckless with money or constantly giving without boundaries. Rather, it means being intentional about adding value to the lives of others. A high-value man understands that generosity is about presence, being there when it matters, listening with genuine interest, and making people feel appreciated. Have you ever met someone who, without spending a dime, made you feel incredibly valued and cared for? That's the true essence of generosity. It's the ability to give attention without distraction, to offer kindness without expecting something in return, and to uplift without seeking validation. Women respect and admire men who demonstrate this kind of generosity because it signals emotional security, confidence, and a deep understanding of what truly matters in life. A man who is only generous with money but emotionally unavailable will never have the same impact as a man who gives his time, his presence, and his unwavering support. The most magnetic men understand that generosity is not transactional. They do not give just to impress or to gain favor. They give because it is who they are. This is the difference between genuine generosity and performative giving. A Stoic mindset teaches that true power comes from self-mastery, and that includes mastering the ability to give without fear, knowing that real wealth lies not in possessions, but in the impact we make on others. Consider a man who has built success in his career but remains generous with his knowledge, mentoring younger professionals and sharing his experiences to help others grow. This kind of generosity creates lasting influence because it comes from a place of abundance. It is the same in relationships. A man who gives compliments sincerely, who supports his partner's dreams, who offers his time freely without making others feel like a burden, is far more attractive than a man who believes financial generosity alone is enough. Think about the people who have made a real impact on you. Were they the ones who merely spent money, or were they the ones who gave you their time, wisdom, or kindness when you needed it most? High-value men recognize that generosity is a leadership quality. It fosters trust, builds deep connections, and makes others want to be around you. This is why men who embody generosity remain attractive at any age, because their value is not tied to youth, wealth, or external status, but to their ability to enrich the lives of those around them. A man who is generous with his affection, his encouragement, and his time creates an environment where people feel safe, appreciated, and inspired. So how can you cultivate true generosity in your life? Start by shifting your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Stop thinking in terms of how much can I afford to give, and start thinking in terms of how can I add value. Be generous with your words. Genuine compliments and encouragement cost nothing, but can mean everything to someone else. Be generous with your time. Listening fully when someone speaks, showing up when it matters, and making others feel seen. Be generous with your energy. Bring positivity into interactions. Uplift those who are struggling, and create an atmosphere where people feel comfortable being themselves. Ask yourself, do people leave your presence feeling better, or do they feel drained? The answer to that question says a lot about the kind of generosity you practice. At the end of the day, generosity is about more than just giving. It's about who you become when you give. It is a reflection of strength, confidence, and an understanding that real value is created through connection, not accumulation. In a world that often prioritizes taking, the man who gives, genuinely, freely, and with a full heart, will always be the one who melts hearts, leaving a lasting impression not just on the women he attracts, but on everyone he meets. At the end of the day, generosity isn't just about what you give. It's about the man you become when you give. A high-value man understands that true wealth lies not in what he possesses, but in the impact he makes on others. When you give genuinely, whether it's your time, attention, wisdom, or kindness, you don't just attract people, you inspire them. In a world that often takes, be the man who gives, and you'll always be remembered, respected, and deeply admired.